Chapter 8: Shared Belief and Collective Meaning. Imagine arriving in a country whose language you do not speak. You walk into a store, select a bottle of water, place it on the counter, and hand the cashier a piece of paper. The cashier accepts it, returns change, and the transaction is complete. Nothing about the exchange feels remarkable, yet if we pause for a moment, something extraordinary becomes visible. The paper itself possesses little intrinsic value. Its power comes from something else, a shared belief. Millions of people agree that the paper represents value, and because they agree, it functions as money. This pattern extends far beyond currency. Much of civilization rests upon realities that exist because human beings collectively recognize them. A marriage, a corporation, a university, a legal contract, a government, a citizenship, a property right, a passport. None of these exist in the same way that rivers, mountains, or forests exist. Their existence depends upon collective recognition. Enough people believe in them, act as though they are real, and therefore they become socially real. At first glance, this idea can feel strange. How can something be real if it exists primarily in human minds? Yet civilization depends upon precisely this phenomenon. Human beings possess a remarkable ability to create realities through shared belief, not imaginary realities. Social realities. Realities that influence behavior because people collectively recognize them. Consider a courtroom. The judge enters. People stand. Proceedings begin. The authority of the judge does not arise primarily from physical strength. It arises from legitimacy, a shared belief that the institution possesses authority. Without that belief, the courtroom becomes merely a room filled with furniture. With that belief, it becomes part of a functioning legal system. The same principle applies to money. A dollar bill is physically real, but its monetary value is not a physical property. The value emerges from collective trust and recognition. If enough people stopped believing in the system, the paper would remain. The money would disappear. This observation reveals something important. Civilization is built not only from matter and energy, it is also built from meaning. Shared beliefs allow human beings to coordinate behavior on a massive scale. People who have never met can cooperate because they participate in the same social reality. The reality may be invisible, yet its consequences are tangible. The philosopher John Searle described many of these realities as institutional facts. A piece of paper counts as money. A person counts as a citizen. A document counts as a contract. A building counts as a courthouse. The physical object exists independently. Its social meaning depends upon collective recognition. The institution emerges when enough people agree upon the meaning. Seen from this perspective, civilization begins to appear as a layered reality. At one level lies the physical world. Stone, steel, food, water, energy, human bodies. At another level lies the social world, money, laws, institutions, governments, organizations, norms. The physical world provides the substrate, the social world provides the meaning. Civilization depends upon both. This helps explain one of humanity's most distinctive abilities. Human beings can cooperate with enormous numbers of strangers. Most animals cooperate primarily within small groups. Human beings cooperate across cities, nations, markets, civilizations. This becomes possible because shared beliefs create common frameworks of meaning. The stranger accepts the same money, recognizes the same laws, participates in the same institutions. The shared reality makes cooperation possible. Yet shared belief contains a paradox. Its power comes from collective acceptance. Its fragility comes from the same source. A currency functions because people trust it. An institution functions because people regard it as legitimate. A legal system functions because people broadly accept its authority. When trust weakens, the underlying structure can become surprisingly fragile. The physical structures may remain. The social reality begins to erode. History contains many examples of this phenomenon. Empires collapse. Currencies fail. Institutions lose legitimacy. Political orders dissolve. Often the physical world changes less dramatically than the collective belief sustaining it. The buildings remain standing, the flags still fly, yet something important has shifted. The shared reality no longer commands the same confidence. This is one reason trust occupies such a central role in civilization. Trust acts as a bridge between belief and behavior. People trust that money will be accepted, that contracts will be honored, that institutions will perform their functions, that other people will broadly follow the same rules. Without trust, large-scale cooperation becomes difficult. With trust, extraordinary levels of coordination become possible. A pattern should now be becoming visible. In the previous chapter, we explored how stories create shared meaning. In this chapter, we discover how shared meaning becomes social reality. Stories help people understand the world. Shared belief helps people inhabit the same world. The result is a civilization composed not only of physical structures, but of collectively maintained realities. Human beings create institutions, then institutions shape human behavior. A feedback loop emerges between belief and reality. This may be one of the strangest features of civilization. Many of the forces that most profoundly shape human life cannot be touched directly. Money, authority, legitimacy, citizenship, law, rights, trust. These realities exist because human beings collectively sustain them, and yet their consequences are often as real as any physical object. Closing orientation. Civilization depends upon more than roads, buildings, and technologies. It depends upon shared belief. Human beings possess an extraordinary capacity to create social realities through collective recognition. Those realities allow strangers to cooperate, institutions to function, markets to operate, societies to endure. The invisible world of shared meaning is not separate from civilization. It is one of its foundations. To understand civilization, we must learn to see not only what is physically present, but also the realities that exist because people believe in them together. If stories create shared meaning and shared belief creates social reality, another question emerges. How do millions of people come to experience themselves as members of the same larger whole? How does identity expand beyond family, tribe, and direct relationships? And how do civilizations create a sense of belonging among people who will never meet? To answer those questions, we must explore identity at scale.